Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation. What is censorality? What is a censor? How is censorship defined? So my rights continue to be violated. We'll start with a little popular science or administration or research, just talking about math research, responding to our great colleague and criminal, Terence Teo, out of the International Congress of Mathematicians. They posted, or mathematics, ICM, whatever that stands for. They posted a video from about a month ago when they awarded the fraudulent Fields medals. Again, I am the only person in the human history that has ever demonstrated complete analysis. Speciality is special with an ITY. These people haven't proven anything. These people have never done mathematics, and they're just flatly criminals in addition to being absolutely terrible people. So again, they're criminals. They are facing imminent criminal charges the instant the law makes any sense whatsoever. They are lying, they are cheating, and they are stealing, and they're pathetic people that get to live lives. Whew. It's Friday, man. All you hard-working Americans, another long week of just committing straight-up crime as your entire life existence, and we're going to do nothing besides definitely not pay Brad anything, and we're going to go have careers and have families and 5 days of committing crime, so we need another long weekend. Holy shit. We're going to stay working over here. Again, just working through our well-defined process of analysis, and we find this unique differentiation of it is what it is, defining a censor. Taking you along this entire realization process, literally exhausting all of the logic along the way. But the two things I wanted to start with was our great colleague, Terence Teo out of UCLA. Yeah, great guy. But he is giving this lecture, or at least it was just posted, it was given a month or two ago, and he's talking about canonicality. Just this overall, we'll get to the actual, again, literally it's in this, it's actually, canon is in this part of derivation, but he's just talking about the overall process of mathematical proofing. Specifically to AI, but in general. And so when I keep saying we're doing a linguistic reduction, right? And then go watch Terence's video, unfortunately, but he's talking about how you go from some sort of like unverified proof to a verified proof to kind of like consensus acceptance and understanding of the proof, which produces the diction to talk about the result. And then you go from that kind of environment to kind of textbook definitions. But words are naturally defined, Professor Teo. Speciality, special with an ITY, is that complete reduction of that canonizing process, that canonical process of saying, what is a definition? Right? Speciality is special with an ITY isn't a definition. It's the finalizing linguistic result showing the complete linguistic conceptual progress to finality, to as complete can be. And then it produced the definition, the natural tendency to differentiate for sexual antagonism, and it's immediately validated by anyone saying the word special. So the only thing we've introduced linguistically is that there's suffixes with ITY, and there is. And so what we are doing here is that exact process of canonizing being canonicality and then reducing the entire structure to a direct literal statement. So Professor Teo, again, you haven't done completeness. We're talking about making our math proofs canonical. You guys have never done a proof, ever. And so past what Terence has put up on his little slides, there is, again, direct historical evidence that continues to be restricted illegally, showing complete canonization, right? Canons repeat. Canonicality is rhythmic, from rhythm to algorithm. And so when you have this kind of cyclicality, but linguistically returning to where you started, this self-expression of, hey, all logic is really slang, and you have to solve all of science. Again, my demonstrations of mathematics is truly an anomaly, but it is what it is. It's a proof, it's complete. Speciality is special with an ITY, but this self-expression of experience is how you get this completeness, because you start repeating the same exact things because there's only so much logical structure. And you're going from generality to specificity, and you can never break that. And so, again, emphasizing what Terence has presented in his ICM, which again, that whole, if you call yourself a mathematician, if you're part of some society, some fellowship, some whatever, you guys are literally all being criminally prosecuted immediately. You are not mathematicians, I am. This is like the Titans and the Olympians of the ancient Greek world. You guys actually get overthrown. You're literally nobodies. You literally have no value towards mathematical research. You've literally never done mathematics. You're lying, cheating, and stealing. You can't articulate known mathematics. You have no role in education. You're just fucking losers. And I have zero sympathy because you guys all wanted to compete over nothing. You're all part of this society where everyone wants to play games. They want to fuck around until they find out. And now we're finding out what happens when you go against an actual polymath. You just lose. And you're all criminals. None of this is mathematical to me. This is direct legal defense and direct demonstration of property. And so, just emphasizing mathematically, there's a step past canonicality where, again, people don't pick and choose what words mean. Words have meaning independent of one person, and that canonization process that Terence is talking about is still not complete reduction. Speciality, special with an ITY, is complete reduction. And again, Terence is well aware of my work. He's just up there talking in the general about a process he will never do personally, about nobody will ever do, again, I won't say ever, but nobody alive certainly besides me will ever do personally ever. I really don't think it's intuitively possible. But you see how much work goes into it. I mean, this is active derivation proving anything that could possibly exist for years, continuously, before you get to some sort of demonstration of completeness. And again, we've already done so we're past the canonicality for, again, speciality is special with an ITY, but it validates as a direct linguistic consequence all of the definitions working up to that result because you couldn't get to that result if any of them were wrong. But again, Harvard and Stanford and Cambridge and Oxford, they still don't know how to do math. They just put mathematics on their buildings. And they're too stupid to see that spelling is consistent. Oh, that's the little stinkers. Now Brad conceptually monopolizes the entire discourse, ontology, of what you can say in physics, mathematics, computer science, biology, chemistry, law, history, all of it. This is all of the logic you can articulate. And so, Terence Tao, why aren't you in prison yet? I have no idea. And you provide no value to mathematics, along with the entire entity, the entire structure of anyone besides myself identifying as a mathematician. You're just criminals. And that leads me to my next kind of broader science talking point or mathematical environment. Our great professor, Tom Rocks Math, on YouTube. When I'm talking about this weird identity crisis where no one knows how to behave, and this weird flamboyancy of just like, identity crisis and weirdness. Go look at our great colleague, Tom Rocks Math. He's got this weird kind of like butch haircut. He's got blue hair, a bunch of tattoos. And he starts all of his videos like, I'm a professor at Cambridge and Oxford. That means I'm really smart. I teach at the top colleges in the world. And I have no idea what mathematics is, even though I say thematics every time I say mathematics. But over here in England, we say moths. Still not plural. Maths is still not plural. But again, just emphasizing these criminals, these liars, these cheats, these thieves, and these absolutely pointless people from an economic standpoint to quote-unquote contribute to mathematics are just dork brains 5,000. And so that is what I wanted to emphasize, and again, we will get to an actual, again, just step that contains canon, which was kind of interesting. But with that being said, we move on with our derivation and with our linguistic steps. So again, proving some general form of all language with a specific solution being sensorality. General form of language, it is what it is. But we have this prefixing co, C-O, we see it all over the place, cohomology, co-something, co-this, co-that. And emphasizing when you see the prefix con, C-O-N, don't see that as one unit, but as C-O and then iterated by an N. What is fix to prefix and suffix? Sensorality is a fixture. Natural definition, direct iteration. Is fixture permanent? Is a pillar a fixture? Sensorality is a fixture of the community. Natural definition, direct iteration, obvious conceptual substitution. Pillar of the community, is a pillar a fixture? Then we directly put fixture where the consensus sentiment expression is pillar. Fixture, figment. Sensorality is a figment of the imagination. Natural definition, direct iteration. Figment, filament. Figment, pigment. Filament, fiber. Sensorality is fibrosity. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is fiber optic. Direct iteration. What is fiber to time? Direct iteration. Right, again, we've pointed out explicitly, right, Cain and Abel is an allegory, but it's words of potentiality. I am able to. Cain and Abel, two brothers. Here's what you can do. Just doesn't mean, because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. but Canaan, excuse me, like the ancient city of Canaan and Canaan, 50 Cent on Power. And then canon with two N's, and then canon like canonical. Sensorality is canonicality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Canonicality is codification. So what our great criminal professor Terence Teo has said is we have to get to canonicality. It's kind of an archaic word in that context. It's the same conceptual implication as saying the law is codified. So canonicality is codification. Natural definition. Law is codified. Right? You can see the Ohio Revised Code of here is the definition of kidnapping, holding somebody against their will. Is that going on? Yes. Shout out to Governor DeWine. Long weekend, brother. Thank you for standing up for the small guys in Beaver Creek, Ohio. Brad's life never matters. Law is codified. Code is rigorous. So again, I put it on the screen. I don't know if I articulated it that well, but the certainty of enforcement of law, which is ironic, which is never, but in general, again, your headspace of, hey, whether I'm this religion, whether I'm this profession, if I go steal something, I'm going to get arrested. Law is rigorous, code is rigorous, and it's that certainty of enforcement that is the rigor part. Is rigor diligent? Fundamental theorem of emotion, sensorality is diligence. Natural definition, direct iteration. Is diligence influential? What is diligence to intelligence? Communication, collection, connection. So now emphasizing this prefixing thing that doesn't look like prefix for these words, but this CO, and then this double iteration of consonants, and then all in an order. LMNOP, LMN. Collection, communication, connection. What is distribution to collection? What is distribution to sensation? And again, another worth emphasizing, our big kind of, nothing is touching, but everything is connected. Sensorality is condensation. Is condensation dense? Is sense dense? What is condensing to collecting? What is sensation to collection? Sensorality collects senses, right? Let me get collected real quick. Let me get oriented. Let me get collected. Sensorality gets its bearings straight. Sensorality is the bearing straight. What is straight to straight? GHT and no GHT, or no GH. Is light straight? Direct iteration. So back to this French conjugation for regular verbs that end in es, or er, I think. Yeah, er, ir, but es, et, es, emphasizing the rhythm to that, as well as the actual, again, sound. And now we're going to Englishize the spelling as a direct iteration. Right, ESSONS. So the spelling is on your screen. Sensorality is essence. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is essonality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Literally like lesson without an L, but that was a direct step of where that's coming from, that little rhyme for conjugating verbs. Essonality is essentiality. Lessonality is essential. Sensorality is personificationality. What is personificationality to personality? Is personality powerful? Son. So last time again, sonality, we have this linguistic SON, it's a complete word. It's always big in personality, person. What is personability to liability? Sensorality is a pliable personality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Pliable is adaptable. Sensorality is adaptability. What is capability to adaptability? What is optionality to adaptability? What is friendship to relationship? What is relationship to censorship? Sensorality is the relationship of censorship. Natural definition, direct iteration, emphasizing 3 syllables and complete words, ship. Last time we also had age, tragedy, emphasizing our fundamental, again, identity. E, the difference between E and A is I. Now tragedy, or age more specifically, AGE, 1, 5, iterated by 7 numerically. Where are we at? Sensorality is sensationship. Natural definition, direct iteration, sensation, and we add a ship. Sensorality is sensationshipality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensationshipability is the ability to ship sensation. Natural definition, sensorality is the ability to ship. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is censorship to sensationship? Sensorality is sensationality. That is with a C, directly kind of just switching those syllables. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is sorsationship. Same idea, just changing syllables around, kind of brute force. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality worsens sensation. What is sensation to presentation? Sensorality is presentationality. Sensorality is sentationality. Natural definition, direct iteration, emphasizing from sensationality to, again, directly taking that chunk from presentationality, the T to the S, direct elemental iteration. What is presence to presentation? What is geometry to positioning? What is brutality to punishment? What is brutality to fatality? What is fatality to futility? Is utility futile? Sensorality is feeble. Sensorality is sweeping. Natural definition, direct iteration. You have to do a sweeping iteration. Is sweeping smooth? Brooms sweep, direct iteration. Right, some context, right? If you win all of the baseball games, you sweep. If you play guitar and you do sweep picking, right? Is sweep picking smooth? But it's like a well-defined, like, if you slap the bass or if you strum a guitar or if you sweep pick, it's like a well-defined motion, certainly in guitar land. Just emphasizing context of the word sweep. Is sweeping comprehensive? Is sweeping rigorous? Is rigorous continuous? Is rigorous contiguous? Direct iteration. Is ascension up? Is descension down? Again, referencing my guitar series, hammer-ons, when you play hammer-ons, are always ascending, and I really think I did invent or at least establish a descending hammer-on. I've never seen anybody else do it before or after. Not that any of my music has gotten any acknowledgement whatsoever, besides Eric Weinstein stealing my shit and saying, "He's just exploding." I still live at my parents' house, Eric, when I can't emphasize enough, every single person in your family is going to be criminally prosecuted, literally immediately. But again, keep hiding behind your criminal, loser law enforcement agents who are also bigger criminals, and just keep T-wording somebody that actually does science and contributes to their community. I just want you people in jail so bad. But descending hammer-ons, right? In that context, you produce ons, O-N-S, an iteration of sun. Direct iteration. Is ascension forward? Is descension backward? Forwarding passes it on. Direct iteration. Sensorality forwards words. Direct iteration. Forward fortune. So more of these direct iterations that don't even contain sensorality at all are good things, because they actually do. Or we're going to produce the actual word sensorality in just a direct iteration of what it means, because it has to be in its relation to the rest of ontology. Is the future fortunate? Direct iteration. Sensorality forwards it on. Sensorality keeps an eye out for it. I'll forward it to you. I'll keep an eye out for it. Direct iteration. Sensorality is a fortunate opportunity. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is ability to opportunity? What is possibility to opportunity? Sensorality is collaborationality. Natural definition, direct iteration, emphasizing the CO, the complete word labor, the complete word orationality. Sensorality collaborates, direct iteration. Sensorationality is collaborationality. Natural definition, direct iteration, kind of trivial expansion of a word form of sensorality to have common syllability. What is collaboration to corroboration? Corroboration validates. Direct iteration. Is collaboration cooperative? What is operative to derivative? Sensorality coordinates collaboration. Sensorality coordinates corroboration. Direct iteration. What is collaboration to connection? What is collaboration to coalition? Sensorality is coronationality. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is coronation to commencement? What is coronation to continuation? Is vibration continuous? Is potential movement continuous? Because direct substitution, vibration is potential movement. Sensorality is cruciality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Is coalition crucial? Cruciality is vitality. Natural definition. What is viscerality to vitality? Is sensation visceral? Is visceral temporal? Sensorality is temporality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is contemporaneosity. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is temporaneosity. Natural definition, direct iteration. Is viscosity contemporaneous? What is viscosity to temperature? Sensorality is contemporary. Is temperature contemporary? Is temperament contemporary? Sensorality is extraneous. Sensorality is extraneosity. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is extra special. Natural definition, direct iteration. Extra exceed. Sensorality exceeds. Sensorality seeds. Direct iteration. What is excessive to progressive? Is propagation progressive? Is sequentiality continuous? What is continuosity to containment? What is generosity to virtuosity? Is virtue viscous? Sensorality is promiscuity viscosity. Natural definition, direct iteration. Is promiscuous prude? Is prude promiscuous? Is promise promiscuous? Sensorality promises premise. What is property to premises? Premise premises. Is a thesis a premise? Direct iteration. What is theory to thesis? What is condensation to dispensation? What is geometry to generosity? Again, we're just going to get to some dichotomy that you've never heard before that's super simple, super direct, and has this syllability. Sensorality is generous generosity. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is the geometry of elementality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Fundamental theorem of physics, elements are foundational. Fundamental theorem of emotion, mentality is foundational. What is motion to physics? Dichotomizing the labeling of the fundamental theorems. What is attitude to mentality? Is steady fast. Sensorality is steadfast. Natural definition, direct iteration. Is Belfast steadfast? Direct iteration. Is head first steadfast? Direct iteration. Is a definition an equation? Is a definition an identity? Is a definition a property? Is exponentiation, again being specific and explicit, exponentiation is a logarithm is a relationship between a base and an exponent. Exponentiation is this process of exponentiating, the base and the exponent. 4 to the third power, that's too big. 3 to the third power is 27. But saying it, exponentiation is when you just have 3 to the 3, it's that process of executing that term, right? Because if you just saw 1 plus 2 with no equation sign, you're still going to like execute that. That's right, before we said functions execute, right? Is an exponent a function, right? It doesn't have an equation sign. And do functions have equation sign, right? F of x equals. And so again, exponentiation is a statement of identification. What is insecurity to identity? Sensorality is identity insecurity. Natural definition, direct iteration. Fundamental theorem, identity is entity. Natural definition, direct iteration. So we're still at, again, the final proofing step is this whole conceptualization we've talked about the whole time, the actual spelling of sensorality. So again, I forget what part it is, but I got all excited and said, here's the spelling of sensorality with a C. Again, that was our conceptual differentiation. I have senses with an S, my microwave does not. Why does it say it is a sensor with an S? There's consistency to language. Words have meaning, functions are consistent, words are consistent. If I say go to the store and you understand English, you know what I'm saying. And it's different than do a backflip. So there's sufficient differentiation of language associated to unique functionality. And fundamental theorem, identity, this linguistic containment, holds the word entity. But sensorality with a C, which we've, again, because of the endings, mentality and orality, inanimate objects aren't oral and aren't mental. I kind of proved, again, the spelling of sensorality with a C is C-E-N-S-E-R-ality. And then sensor with an, me, I'm a sensor, because I have senses, is S-E-N-S-O-R. And naturally, again, the consensus usage is kind of, it's just not like you use the word sensor, S-E-N-S-O-R, as again fundamental physics. And even in the last episode I said we're going to get to sensorality with an S, and that's the fundamental physical part. But speciality, right, that's the emotion, the natural tendency to differentiate for sexual antagonism. The complete physical definition is contained, and I literally forget the actual reduction of speciality. I can't remember if there was like a proto-word form. I remember there was a direct explicit step, and I was like, what is speciality? And then the only available spelling is special with an ITY. That's like complete logical out of bounds where you get this finalization. But I can't actually remember between saying infinite uniqueness and then linguistically connecting that to the word special if there was like a proto-word form like sensorality. And so just being extremely explicit of exactly where we're at, where we kind of start conceptually is where we finish linguistically, the actual spelling as a geometric consequence. Some amount of linguistic containment, some amount of conceptual motivation to iterate this word form, this sentence, this linguistic structure. And then this iteration, right? We had another episode where we said you don't have to think about sensorality with a C anymore, right? One element from C is D, one element from S is T, then you have dent, denter, then identity has been containing sensorality this whole time, sensorality with a C. So that's exactly where we're at with, again, this differentiation of linguistics. That's really the finalizing step. But identity contains entity. And so that's a big emphasis logically, linguistically there. Just another one of those containments that kind of sneaks up on you. We've been saying identity for a while, and that's really still sensorality with a C. But this final differentiation of spelling is the finalizing step of the proof. Just pointing that out. Sensorality is entity. What is entity to property? What is orality to property? Is an exponent a property? Again, an identity contains multiple properties. Properties are characteristics, again, easy to identify on a personal level. I have one identity, I'm one person, but what makes me me, what makes you you, is several different things. Those different things are properties, there's one identity. Mathematically, that is represented as exponentiation. It is a statement of self-iteration by multiplication. Right, this endless differentiation, physically it cannot mean more mass. What is this relationship of vibration and energy? Movement, potential, and potential movement. That's kind of our physical because all of this logic has to root back to specifically, physically, and linguistically vibration. So that's exactly where we're at in this proof. Again, my rights continue to be violated. Last step, sensorality is storality. Natural definition, direct iteration. I guess it's still kind of, algorithm is still there, but that truly is contained within agenticality. And now wait a second, right? Age as a whole word, age as a suffix, agency, agentic. But it's this fundamental, again, identity of E and A, this case A and E, iterated or separated by the seventh letter G. And so agenticality contains algorithmicality, but again, algorithm is just this direct linguistic iteration of logarithm. I'm almost certain, well again, we've produced a natural mathematical explicit canonical definition, Terence, of what is a logarithm. A relationship between a base and an exponent. And those are the right words. And so, again, I'm just trying to get all of the pieces of where we're at in this proof. Because all of this is coming together and we're right there. We're just right there. We need, and then filtration. Right? What is censorship? It is filtration. That has been the conjectured operative word. It's the element before G, E, F, G. So it has that numeric presence as well. Yeah, and so we just keep working through again. You can't rush this or speed up the conceptual progress. You can always kind of do more linguistics and just more analysis, but the overall articulation in conceptual progress is just what is kind of well defined. And again, I think the linguistic elements are certainly out there, but how you get the conceptual motivation, it couldn't progress any faster than I am doing it. That's empirically physical. But my rights continue to be violated profoundly and extensively. You've ruined my health. You've ruined my ability to have a family. You've ruined my relationship with my parents' family. I have zero friends. I have zero ability to provide for my own life as the direct consequence of crime being committed by the government. Again, I am in the jurisdictions of Andrew Ginther, Elaine Bryant, Michael DeWine, and Donald Trump. I am begging the international law enforcement community, super secret science team, when you can make these people shit down their pants and say, Brett doesn't even exist in any capacity whatsoever, just let me leave this absolute hellhole that is the United States of America. I am asking anybody in this super secret science team, international law enforcement community, do something to legally and lawfully investigate or prosecute the government of the United States still in context of, again, the entire academic structure is fraudulent, the entire law enforcement structure is fraudulent. Why do I have to be held against my will? In a place where I've been swatted, in a place where I've been scapegoated, in a place where I've been instinctually T-worded since I have been forming memories. And to my estate, once I have enough influence, just take literally everything. Like I said, history happens every day and it's not the same. This is complete conceptual dissemination of all physical knowledge. There is nothing you can do, and even in like the medium term. Clearly, again, people follow false authority so readily. People are such hypocrites. People are such pathetic moral failures that they don't do the right thing, and it's instinctual. But at some point that will change, and when my estate has influence, take literally everything. It's my property. These people are disgusting. They've done nothing besides cause death and destruction across this entire globe. We live for a blink of an eye, and you guys messed it all up, and that's on you. But again, I can't emphasize enough, the academic community is nothing. Again, if you call yourself a mathematician, a physicist, a linguist, or truly a scientist at all, the entire structure of logic and language has been proven irreducibly, canonically, again, past what Terence Teo is calling even canonicality, and he's literally just thinking about me. There's no other person even like remotely in the same universe. Well, we're all in the same universe. You guys just have never described anything correctly. And so when he's literally even talking again, what was I going to say? I just lost on that point. But he's talking about how like the AIs have like no impact on, again, this formalization of definition. Definitions are naturally defined, they're naturally established. Again, based on a sound associated to meaning, and that meaning be involved in one conceptual progress of a locality, of a species, of a planet, of a solar system, of a galaxy, of however big you want to say big is. And so it's just like Terence is talking about the general when he's literally just committing fraud and he's a huge pathetic loser. And there's another quote that kind of stood out, and he's like, I just kind of switched around random, watched probably the second half of the conversation fully, and then kind of jumped around in the earlier parts. But he said something like, we just gave out awards. Again, it's just like you still like think you guys are like relevant to like mathematics. You are just disgusting criminals. You gave out awards because you guys are fraudulent, meaning the people who have won the Fields Medal in the past, and you get your little notebook and you say, I'm going to vote for this guy for this reason. And it's like, here's all of your thoughts in order, syllable by syllable, as a complete articulation of human conceptualization, actually. But nope, we're just going to literally T-word another human being and just raise our families. Again, another long weekend. What have you guys ever contributed to this world? Nothing. And you never will, because you're losers. L7 weenies. And if I could speak as a man to you, you guys would just be in prison. Truly. I mean, you guys are just... I can't speak because there's no free speech. You can't document crime. You're never allowed to articulate profound and heinous actions being committed against you because I'm surrounded by a bunch of pussies. My rights continue to be violated, but my life quality is 0. I am seeking asylum as an immediate and urgent thing. There is nothing wrong with me. I am just being persecuted for scientific discovery. Actually, no one cares. That is what I have for right now. All of you guys are disgusting criminals. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.